Hello, welcome back. I'm Darcy Darkness. This is Confessions from the Dark Side. And how are you in this wonderful community? We have Confessions from the Cranky side, all things Crow. Well, it's getting the run up to the release, so there's going to be a whole lot of articles about it. Let's cover them, shall we? Should we get the disclaimer out the way before I get all Darcy about things? We are full of so much adult content that some of you may think this is unnecessary and some of you think this isn't needed. If you are one of those people, then thanks for checking us out. I'll say this only once. If you can't stand the heat, then get the fuck out of my kitchen. Now, for everyone else who likes what we have here, then regular scheduled programming will continue. Shall we get started and are we ready? So, like I said, what are we covering today? We are covering a couple of articles that are discussing The Crow. And the first one's from Metal Hammer of all things. You remember Metal Hammer, Metal Audience? I can. I still actually have a few with limited edition covers. But I have not read it nor bought it in decades, I would say. So let's see what they're saying about The Crow, because this is actually coming from an actual alternative. I say alternative loosely because if Metal Hammer's like any other alternative magazine, it's been a whole load of shite for a few years. Let's read this. This was 2 days ago. Crow 2024 director claims, so it's just as bad as allegedly, the film is dark, violent, and a scrappy indie movie. There's nothing to do with Hollywood in this movie at all, yet you have one of the biggest Hollywood actors at the moment and has been for quite some time and the family in it though. So you don't want Hollywood, but you do. Sanders, shut the fuck up. Says Rupert Sanders says the controversial Bill Skarsgård led retelling has the same dark heart as the original James O'Barr comic. Right, I have the comic, the graphic novel. And yes, there's a couple of scenes from the book that are in the movie. But so there's a lot of things that are in movies that are retellings. But they've based it on the movie, the iconic movie that was released 30 years ago. That's what people have got a problem with. The reboot is a bit of a meh, but it's the fact that they've tried to use the popularity and the genre, the subgenre of people who love and still love the original movie to push this movie. So Rupert Sanders, the guy who gave us Snow White and the Huntsman, has said that the movie has got nothing to do with the original franchise, yet he wants to use the fans of the original franchise to try and boost the sales of his movie, which again, he says he's not doing, but he obviously is, and then blamed everybody because people didn't like it. Now, Bill has already come out himself and said he didn't like the ending of this movie. Didn't give any spoilers or anything in the interview, but he said he thought it would go a different way. But Rupert Sanders wants to make this a trilogy, like a franchise, even though technically, The Crow, once the victim has finished his work, he would go on to his afterlife type thing. And then it would be someone else. So Rupert Sanders wants to make Bill Skarsgård the head of this franchise. So let's read this article and see what else they say. I apologise, I have allergies, so therefore I sound the way I do. So let's go. The director of the up-and-coming Crow has called the film dark and violent in the movie in line with the original comic. Rupert Sanders made a comment about the impending and controversial reboot during an interview with Empire. Of course he did. They're not on the cover, by the way. It's Lord of the Rings, so it's obviously not that good. There is nothing to do with Hollywood in this movie at all, says Sanders. It's a scrappy indie movie. No, the original was closer to a scrappy indie movie. Hey, the filmmaker who previously directed Snow White and the Huntsman and also slept with Kristen Stewart, broke up his marriage and broke up her relationship. He and others involved were able to remain close to the centre and the darkness and the violence that is in the graphic novel. There's like 2 scenes I've seen that have been in the trailers and from stills that have been in the comic so far, and they still are not depicted in the same way as the comic, they're just similar. And the only reason we could do that is because of it was not a studio movie, Sanders explained. The Crow, a story about an undead adventurer who returns to life to kill he and his partner's murderers, was originally written as a graphic novel in the 1980s by James O'Barr. The graphic novel was a sleeper hit following the success of a dark comic adaptation, Batman, in 1989, and was optioned for a film adaptation. The adaptation came out in 1994 and directed by Alex Proyas, with Brandon Lee starring as the titular character. Lee died in an on-set accident towards the end of production at the age of 28. A sequel, The Crow City of Angels, followed in 1996 but did not receive the same critical goodwill or commercial success. No, because if they just called it City of Angels and by the makers of the creators of The Crow, then it'd be fine, but they didn't. They call it The Crow City of Angels. They tried to make the guy look exactly like Brandon as well. I liked it because it kind of had Sarah in it as well when she was older, but it was a different actress, obviously. And The Crow Salvation was terrible. In 2000, The Crow Wicked Prayer, even worse, and that was released straight to video or direct to DVD here. Talks of a remake began circulated in the late 2000s, where Jason Momoa was named and he was attached to it. So, and when you saw him in the makeup, he looked devilish, fiendish. He looked great, Jason Momoa, and I've said that plenty, and I've never actually said that with someone taking over the role or the previous people who tried to take over the role. But I thought Jason looked really, really good, and when he does a role, he's all in it. So he is. Look at him in Game of Thrones. He was amazing, and also Aquaman as well. But they gave it to Bill Skarsgård in the end. The first trailer for The Crow was released in March and instantly divided opinion. At the time of writing, the trailer had 102 likes on YouTube against 152 dislikes. I think 102 likes is actually pretty good because the amount of people who have hated it. Many fans have complained about the remake being perceived slight against the legacy of the original star Lee, as well as the seemingly glossier soundtrack featuring Post Malone. Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't know who this prick was, and apparently he's a musician. I was like, is he really? I was like, oh, Post Malone, that's great. Yeah. No. The original soundtrack had so many good artists in it, so many iconic songs. You had The Cure, you had Violent Femme, she had Trent Reznor playing guitar when it was Eric playing on the rooftops. That was Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails songs in it as well. There was Helmet as oh god, there's just so many amazing songs and musicians and bands and everything like that were in that soundtrack. It's one of those things that you can still listen to the soundtrack over and over again. And when you hear Burn, you can see him put his makeup on. I'm getting ready for war, for fight, for vengeance, revenge. And then when you hear Dark Souls by Nine Inch Nails, you can see the crow flying over the city, which is how Eric sees everything, because the crow flies for him and is his eyes, because of the connection to the crow, bringing him back. And Post Malone's not going to do that. I'm sorry, but he's not. He may like the movie, he may claim to be a metalhead or whatever, I've seen whatever, but no. Like you said, here the original film featured such celebrated alternative acts: Cure, Rage Against the Machine, Nine Inch Nails, Rollins Band and more. Troy spoke out against Reboot in March. I really don't get any joy from seeing negativity about fellow filmmakers' work. He doesn't like giving negativity, basically. And he said this lots. He goes, I'm certain the cast and crew really had all good intentions, as we all do on any film. So it pains me to say any more on this topic, but I think the fans' response speaks volumes. The Crow is not just a movie. Brandon Lee died making it, and it was finished as a testament to his loss, brilliance, and tragic loss. It is his legacy that should remain. Skarsgård told Esquire in June that he was dissatisfied with the new film's ending and implied elements were left ambiguous to the setup of a sequel. I personally preferred something more definitive, he said. The Crow is slated to come out on the 23rd of June via Lionsgate. Lionsgate seem to be in front of all the remakes because they can't make, obviously, movies from an originality of story, someone's talent. They've got to reboot everything. They're doing Highlander as well, and that's been pushed back. That was loudersound.com, which is Metal Hammer. So what did you think about that? Do you think that they are trying to save face because of all this and releasing the soundtrack? Well, again, it's the first kind of movie that's got a full sign of soundtrack, actually. And I think that's a kind of momentum right there. They're trying to really go for the fact that it's a small movie, go for the soundtrack, tailor the soundtrack. It's still not going to be anywhere near as good or popular, I think. I think there'll be a lot of younger generation who'll think that this movie is awesome, like they did with It when it wasn't. It was a comedy, like I said. I still don't feel that they portray Eric Draven in the way that he should. And I'm not being harsh on Bill, because Bill's came out and said himself that he's not happy with the way Robert Saunders has ended the movie. So that's a big telltale sign. that your actual big actor who's chosen to do this movie, this iconic role, has said he's not happy. You know what happens when people aren't happy? They fucking usually walk out or walk away. Not pointing any elbows at any actors, but people who listen to my channel know exactly who I'm fucking talking about. And then try and blame others for their actions. Do you think I should wait and then judge? No, I'm sorry, but this channel is not about that. This channel is based on our opinion and what we like and what we love and what we're passionate about. So I will not be waiting to view and judge because it's going to be cringy as fuck. Or are you like me, not happy with the constant reboots of movies that we grew up on? I don't think I'll ever get over the fact that they're literally remaking everything, and Lionsgate are doing a big chunk of them as well. At Lionsgate, go into like the world and look for new writers. There's plenty of them out there writing fanfic that are better than some of the scripts that are written for your company. That's for sure. Will you be going to see The Crow that was pushed back to August? Will you go see it? I actually managed to get a copy. I had a really busted up copy of the original book by James O'Barr. I actually managed to find a copy of it on Amazon, the limited edition one, collector's edition. I was too cheap to buy the used, slightly new, new, good condition, whatever, hardback, because I wasn't paying that amount of money for something that could look like someone had chewed it, because I'm a bit particular about my book. I wanted to refresh in my memory, watch it if I do watch it, because I think I'll just wait to streaming and then do it, because I don't tend to go to the cinema for really anything these days, so not really worth it. That was Confessions from the Cranky Side. I am Darcy Darkness, and that was a wee update on the Crow. Let us know if what your reaction was to the news, or the most recent news, showing more trailers and things like that. The more trailers they show you, by the way, usually gives you an inclination that the movie's going to be shite. I'm just saying for like future reference, the showing you the same trailer and then teasing you with the same trailer, then adding other bits to the trailer, and then releasing a new trailer like a month before the movie comes out. They kind of do that with a lot of films just now, and you know that either the momentum is gone for the movie and it's like one of those movies that were delayed because of the strikes and people are already over it, or it was delayed by the pandemic and the writer's strike did not help. And the strike didn't help with Hollywood, with the SAG thing situation. So we don't a ton of movies and TV shows and everything like that. Everything's been put on the back burner, so things will start to come out again. So therefore, the trailers that you've seen are old. Then they start releasing more and more. But again, it's like a shift at the moment, the way between Hollywood and indie films. It's not even a hit or a miss. It's like a miss or a miss. It's crazy the way it's going. So let us know about that too. If you like content like this, remember to go check out Confession from the Darkside social media platforms, Twitter, which is X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. Let us know what you think over our social medias and let's get chatting about this topic, all the topics. Let's grow our community and spread how awesomeness the horror community actually is. If you like to get to know us as individuals, then you can check us out on our links below. I'm Darcy. I have a YouTube, an Instagram, and a Twitch, and I don't use my kick. The spelling is on screen right now. Lunar is a YouTube, a Twitch, and an Instagram. And if you need to reach out to us at any point, we have some email addresses: confessionsfromthedarkside@gmail.com, which is the channels. Darcy, which is myself, behind the mush reviews at gmail.com, and Lunar is lunarxrising at gmail.com. And that is me, and I'll see you in the next one later.